Ooh, if you're not ready, bring a towel, bring your bathing suit, bring whatever other things people bring to the beach. Whatever you got, bring it over. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for being here. It is time to jump into a long song, a full album. This isn't a long song, this is a full album. Full album reaction to the Fixx with Reach the Beach, their 1983 album, second studio album. As I mentioned, released in 1983, almost 1883. We're listening to this because this is a sponsored recommendation, sponsor request by Dustin. Dustin, thank you so much for the support. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate that, and of course for the suggestion. But however, this was also recommended by the following: Cedric Milford, David German, M. Gideon Hoyle, David Chaplain, AK, I believe you mentioned this as well, Genius Sat QW, Jerry Petrillo, Roger Melodic Music, John PBH, and Jaybird. I think that you actually mentioned this album 5 years ago. You said that this was nostalgic. Listen, I see all of you, so thank you guys so much for the recommendation, for the suggestion. Now, we've listened to one track from the Fixx, which was Red Skies, quite a while ago. And from what a lot of the comments had said, it's not very representative of the sound of the band. So we're about to get a little bit more representation right now. Hope you guys are doing well and having a great day. As always, I appreciate you stopping on by, coming on in. The sun was out a moment ago, and now it's just begin to sink down further and further. And it actually just started sprinkling as well. My plants need more sun, less water, but that's another story. The album is not available on streaming, so I'm going to be listening to it on YouTube. So we'll kind of adjust like my screen and stuff while we're in there. I'll probably make myself a little bit bigger, since most of the time you see mostly me during the reaction. Not to be narcissistic, but just to, make it as close to that as possible. So anyways, grab something to drink, grab something to eat. We're going to pop into the first track here, which is going to be One Thing Leads Into Another, or Leads to Another. Let me just get it ready. I'm not starting it yet because I got to get through the ad on YouTube. Submit, there it is. I have it popped up, ready to go. Let me pull you guys up here really quick. Boom, there you are. We got the album cover there. I'll make myself a little bit bigger. There you go. Just a tiny bit. Just a teensy bit. A teensy little bit. All right. Anyways, hey, grab a hot drink, this sip, and the first song, this album listen, as always, is to you. I love the album cover, by the way. Here we go. The bass. All these sound effects happening on the sides. Very 80s. Yeah. Loving the sound of bass here. That's very 80s brain. Love that line. Rough off the cuff. happening. I love the way he sings that and delivers that last note. Another. Still a few seconds. You never know. I just need to make sure. I think we're good. We're set. Okay. That's an excellent opening first track. So this is giving me immediately those 80 vibes, such as Duran Duran and the Police a little bit. Not like they sound like the Police, but just like putting me in that specific era. I love all the 80s sounds that are constantly popping off, those little quirky, I don't know, keyboard and guitar moments. Let me pull up the band here. So you have Jamie West Oram on guitar, and then let's see, keyboards, Rupert Grinnell. I love the sounds that they're coming up with on there. The wow, wow. There's like all these little things that are happening that I think that are just like little fun quirks in the music. But then you have the mainstay. You have that main line of music. The lead singing by Cy, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Cy Cernal? I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name. I apologize. But I really like his voice. It's very clear. And I love how he has that smooth 80s sound. But there's one specific moment, but there's a couple little inflections where he kind of gets not a growl, but there's definitely a little bit of a grit in the way that he sings. And I really like that. I like the power with which he sings, the smoothness with which he has the cadence. Really, really nice. The bass playing. On this particular track, you're going to have Alfie Agius playing the bass, while for the rest of the tracks, it's switched between two people, Alfie Agius and then Dan K. Brown playing bass. Really, really enjoy that bass playing. During the verse, it's kind of steady, right? Like nothing too crazy happening. But during the chorus, he kind of lets loose a little bit. And the tone was giving me a little bit of like that Mick Karn kind of sound. Just like a really good opening track. I love the inflections and the cadence of which Cy sings as well. I'm going to call him CC. Hopefully it doesn't come across as disrespectful. Let's just call him C. But I love the final delivery, the one another, like that little da 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 da, like those way he hits those notes. The way in the lyrics at one point he says rough off the cuff or whatever, like that little bit of run on was really cool as well. It's a good opening first track. Let's go ahead and dive into these lyrics here. Pull you up. Now the only thing is I can't follow the lyrics while I'm listening. You guys see my screen as it is, so we'll have to just do this literally right off the cuff. The deception with tact. Just what are you trying to say? You got a blank face which irritates. Communicate. Pull out your party piece. You see dimensions in two. State your case with black or white, but when one little cross leads to shots, grit your teeth. You run for cover so discreet. Why don't they? So in the lyrics, he's basically saying like, you only see things in black or white. You only see things in 2D. You don't see the whole picture. You don't see the whole spectrum. It's not just a monochromatic scheme. There's a lot of different colors to this, a lot of different shades. There's a lot of different elements and angles to this particular situation, whatever this situation may be here in the lyrics. And he's saying, when things start to get rough, what's the phrase? When things get tough, the tough get going. Well, in this case, this person is not the tough. They're just the get going. Do what they say. Oh, I love the chorus. Do what they say. Say what you mean. Right? Like just shoot straight. Oh, baby, one thing leads to another. You told me something wrong. I know I listened too long, but then one thing leads to another. Like you've already misguided me. And then it starts here and keeps going this way. Just a bad trail. The impression that you sell passes in and out like a scent, but the long face that you see comes from living close to your fears. So this person's selling an impression, obviously something that's not true to who they are. And this long face, typically representing regret, sadness, that you see comes from living close to your fears. So you're affecting me. Basically, your vibe is off. If this is up, then I'm up. But you're running out of sight. You've seen your name on the walls, and when one little bump leads to shock, miss a beat, You run for cover and there's heat. Why don't they? Listen, just one little issue happens and all of a sudden you're a bird in flight. Then it's easy to believe somebody's been lying to me. But when the wrong word goes in the right ear, that's a great line, I know you've been lying to me. It's getting rough off the cuff. I've got to say enough's enough. Bigger the harder he falls. But when the wrong antidote is like a bulge on the throat, you run for cover in the heat. One thing leads to another. Listen, as soon as the first pin drops, you're out of there. Let's see. There's the Wikipedia article on this one. It's one of the band's most successful singles, reaching number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the U.S. in 1983. Also peaking at number 2 on the Billboard Rock Top Tracks and becoming a number 1 hit in Canada. It says vocalist Cy Curnin has described this song as an indictment of dishonest politicians. I was definitely looking at it in a relationship angle, but I guess that makes sense as well. Probably more sense, I should say, in that particular regard. Anyways, let us move into the next track here, which is going to be The Sign of Fire. I guess I could have kept you guys on the screen while I moved into it. Let me bring you back. And here we go. There we go. That's a little bit of a spooky tone. How that bass creeps, the guitar just... I tried to warn you, you were not alone. You wouldn't take the call. You were brimstone. I tried to warn you. Always the same desire. This would be a great kind of Halloween song, at least based off of mood. You are a voice alone, and who dares to question? Forgotten it all. How do you live with? Do you wear brimstone? Give me the call. Back. I'm being drawn by the heat. Always the same desire. It's hot. Like how guitar and bass hopped on this moment. Smashing up. Synth rising from the back. That is such a cool, suspenseful. Through the telephone, I tried to reach you. Little organ chop representing fun. I know your life is torn. I say your love is torn. Why don't you mention to me whenever I'll try to warn you. Always the silence fire. I'm being drawn by the heat. Always the same desire. You're not alone. Doesn't that move like a Halloween song? Hit you with the fade outs, huh? Yeah. We'll have to look into the lyrics, but to me, this could so easily play into a Halloween playlist just because of the mood of it all. Especially well, yes, there's organ, but especially with the way the guitar is kind of playing, kind of this scratchy, suspenseful chucking through here. It's just like, it's just kind of skittering through, right? And then the bass line coming through right behind it, giving you a little bit of a thump under the floorboards. And I love the moment of each and every single one of the lines, in just the way that goes bang, 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 bang. It's just a really cool way of keeping the floor of the music right here, of course, on those floorboards, going dun, dun, creeping, dun, dun. And then every once in a while, ba, 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 bringing it up just a moment, like a spark in the dark, and then bringing it back down, drive, reverse, and park. I don't know what that means. It just rhymes. I just wanted to rhyme. But I really like the guitar work there. And I like how the synth brought in some of the organ sounds as well, which to me just further amplifies this kind of, haunted kind of sound that the music has. And even like the song title, The Sign of Fire, to me kind of has this kind of, not creep factor, but something metaphysical. That's the word I'm looking for. It has something metaphysical to it. And perhaps here in a little bit of a negative connotation or a darker connotation. I mean, there's, mentions of brimstone and trying to reach you, altars of stone. No, could be a sacrifice or something. But there's only one way to find out. Let's take a look at these lyrics here. But I really think that this would fit so perfectly on a Halloween playlist. And once again, I like how the music creeps and it's kind of subtle, but there's those moments where, it really comes out and alive. I mentioned the keyboard work, but during the break especially, I like how it kind of empties out and there's this hollowness that's built there. And that's where the keyboards really come in a lot more with those effects. Heart of Stone, better than a heart of glass if you're asking Blondie.
Please clap.
Heart of Stone, I tried to reach you. Of the altar stone, I tried to warn you. But you were not alone. You wouldn't take the call. You wear brimstone. I tried to warm you. Different change. Whoops. What that is. First it said warn. Then it says warm. Of course, referencing the brimstone there. Always the same desire. After the tone, they try to storm you. You are a voice alone, and who dares to question? Forgotten at home, how do you live with? Do you wear brimstone? Give me the call. This is in the most desperate way. Just call me back. But this is call me back. Always the sign is fire. I'm being drawn by the heat. Always the same desire. Hot. So he's calling this person. I'm imagining, I just can't help it, but I think relationship once again. He's drawn by the heat. He's drawn by the fire of the romance of the relationship. But I also think that he's feeling kind of like a moth to the flame here, especially with the mentions of an altar or the brimstone, etc. Through the phone, I tried to reach you, and I love how the organ comes in just a little bit under there, kind of giving us that kind of on a phone wire kind of imagination, I would say, picture. Through the telephone, I tried to reach you, but if you're not alone, I know your life is torn. I see your lover's tomb. Why don't you mention to me whenever I call? I'll try to warm you. He's like, I know there's someone else there. He's like, I know your life is torn, but why don't you mention to me whenever I call? I'll try to warm you. Even if he's being cheated on, he still is drawn by his heart and by, as he says, the heat. You're not alone. Always the sign is fire. Heart of Stone. Always the sign is fire. Always the sign is fire. Nothing on that one. That's at least what I'm kind of getting out of it. That's what I think. Let's move on into the next track. I don't know why I keep on taking you off the screen. Let's move on to the next track, which is Running. I'm just used to going back and forth like that. That's why. We haven't hit any ads yet.
Only wanted the truth, no looking into. No more feelings of doubt. When someone showed me the root of all evil, when all the lights were out.
I love how that started.
The shadows sleep, just leaning. Am I leaving again? I must be dreaming, so undercover. Dreams are always lifelong ambition. Whatever drink comes next. I'm in the seat of a hearse and guess who's driving?
That growl in there.
On the way. I hear the step of a fool who's coming. All night, never day. Then the lights came on. Then the lights came on. I switched myself with someone else. Oh, then I shake myself. Things start to happen when things start to happen when things start. I can see myself running, but I'm standing still. I can hear myself screaming, but there's no sound. When I wake up crying, life brings me down. But it's not worth losing until it's found. Oh, I can see my way home. I'm at a house, all the windows are broken. It's where I once used to live. I must be losing all my undercover, dreaming always the same. I can see myself running, still see myself running. I switched 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 myself.
I think the rhythm section in this track and kind of in the album a little bit, we've gotten a couple hints of it, is so interesting. It's like here the drums enter at almost kind of odd moments when the music stops and then it comes back in. And I need to catch what it was. It's almost like it starts off with the snare coming in and then moves in as it does. Like it's in most like music in general rhythm, like the bass is what starts it off. Kick, snare, kick, snare. But unless I'm mistaken, it kind of reverses it in snare, kicks, or something like that. Which just kind of, it gives it this almost offset or off-center kind of sound, which I think works really well with the, I can't help but use this word again, this quirkiness that the band have kind of built around a new wave sound. You know, like you get what their sound is, but the way they dress it up with the synths and the guitar here and all those different sounds, there's constantly so many different sounds happening, but I like how in line with the music they are. It's not like, I don't know why I'm forgetting the song. I am forgetting the song. Okay, it's just what I'm thinking of. Yes, 90125. What's their most popular song? I don't know why it's actually just slipping off the top of my head. What's Yes's most popular song off of 90125? Oh my God, I'm embarrassed to look this up. Owner of a Lonely Heart. Remember in the break of Owner, how it has all those 80s, those hits, bam, 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 and all those sounds that are happening that are like, those are like the brash, bold, in your face 80s sounds, right? This, you're getting a similar thing where there's these different surroundings in the ambience of the music off to the sides, but here it's not done so brash and bold. It's just more like, you know, little sprinkles of some truffle, you know, on the sides and everything. Also, you know, huge shout out, by the way, huge shout out to Doug Heverling, because when I type in Yes 90125, he is the first thing that pops up. Shout out to you. That's awesome for you. I think that's awesome. But yeah, I love how, like, not awkward, but just odd the rhythm is and everything that's dressed up around it. I like how the singing still comes across as like powerful and smooth, but still like a little eccentric. And I really got to say that I thought the drums were really fantastically played by Adam Woods, who's handling the drums on this particular track. I just really liked how he played. And when the music got into the chorus of Running, the title of the song, the music changed And it got into something a little bit more constant with the rhythm section and like a little bit more constant with the melody to kind of give the idea, of course, of running. I like how that was all done. That was all done very, very well. Let's take a look at these lyrics here really quick. I only wanted the truth, looking into, no more feelings of doubt. Then someone showed me the root of all evil when all the lights were out. Shallow sleep, just leaning. Am I leaving the game? I must be dreaming, lots of undercover. Dreams are always the same. When the nights close in, when the nights close. So there's this encompassing kind of claustrophobia that comes in, right, with the lyrics there. But then as we heard with the chorus, with the running, it opens right back up. And the music even becomes much more excited and positive, you know? Well, it's another night I waste at the opera with a permanent friend. I should have taken another direction much sooner. Another night in the air, if the lights came on, I'd switch myself with someone else. Then I'd shake myself. Things start to happen things start to happen. Things start. Oh, I can see myself running, but I'm standing still. It's like a dream. He's having an out-of-body experience where he can see himself like he thinks he's running, but he's really not. He's not moving. And I can hear myself screaming, but there's no sound. When I wake up crying, life brings me down. But it's not worth losing until it's found. Oh, I can see my way home. So he's searching. This is what I view this as. He's searching for something. He's searching for whatever his purpose, truth, whatever it could be. He's searching for that thing. And at times he sees himself running. He sees himself heading towards it. But in reality, he's standing still. He sees himself screaming, but in reality, there's no sound. So there has to be an action. There has to be an effort to be made. There has to be, as he mentions in the title, running, right? And then finally, he says, I can see my way home. So there is progress in this story here. I close my eyes and I'm back by the ocean. My hair feels wet. I'm on the brink of a lifelong ambition. I feel like this is it. Like he's really throughout his life just searching for that purpose, that thing, that meaning. Whatever dream comes next. I'm the seat of a hearse, and guess who's driving? I'm with you all the way. I'm the seat of a hearse. It's an interesting image. He's not in the hearse, like, in the hearse. He's not driving the hearse. He's the seat of a hearse. I hear the step of a fool. Who's coming? All night, never day. Then the lights came on. I switched myself. When I wake up crying, life brings me down. No, it's not worth losing until it's found. I can see my way home. I'm at a house. All the windows are broken. It's where I once used to live. I must be losing all my undercover. Dreaming always the same. And then he says, I can see myself running. I think that this is like a very personal song. Knowing nothing about the band or the artist or the writer, I feel like this is a very personal song. And it's the difference between how one sees themselves and how one actually is. And do you accept yourself or do you try to change yourself into something worth accepting? I don't know, but either way, he's running towards that. That's a great track. I like the lyrics on that one a lot too. Let's move on to the next one. I Did It Again. It's going to be Saved by Zero. Just need to keep you guys here. Here we go. I loved that part. Oh, the echo reverb. and they bring together those two parts, the chorus and the verse. That's actually really cool how that's done. I mean, the chorus of this thing, or not the chorus, we'll talk about that, but the verse. I love how you get a little bit of that echo on his vocal line, but then it, da, 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 da. That melody, every time it comes through, I'm here for it. I love all the ambience that surrounds it. It's like he's walking down the street. And then when that not the chorus, but all the ambience comes in behind him, it's like this wind that just pushes. I don't know why that was the thing. It just pushes him, and it just feels like this really great color that's added. With all the sounds, all that, the key ambience, the more reverb, and the producer in there, and there's like reverb, add more, and it just feels so good. And the way that he's delivering the singing at that moment. Da, 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 da. It's so cool, and it just moves. And then you have the almost stark contrast of whoever's singing behind him, Saved by Zero, like just singing almost, in a somewhat monotone, not as charismatic kind of way. And then I just like how that contrast plays out between them. And here you're getting a lot more of, we need a synonym besides quirk. You get a little bit of those eccentricities. You hear what I'm imagining is the guitar doing. I can't even do it because I can't do it that fast. But it's very quick and decisive picking, and like it just sounds so cool in here how that's done. And then you hear those like grink. I hope that came across like the grink. Like you hear these like I think it's strings. It could be keyboards for all I know, but that kind of sound like a string or a wire tightening. Grink. It just, I think, sounds really cool in here. I think that this is just a very interesting album so far. It has a very interesting sound. Like, on one hand, it doesn't sound overly new. To me, this isn't like breaking any walls artistically. But at the same time, it does sound like it's taking an established sound and kind of twisting it a little bit, kind of turning it a little bit. Not reinventing the wheel, but perhaps, if this was a bicycle, you add a baseball card to the bottom, and now that your wheels, it's giving a little extra. This is putting ribbons on your bike. You know what I mean. Okay, let's look at the lyrics on this one here. Let me get there really quick. Saved by Zero. Maybe someday, saved by zero, I'll be more together. Stretched by fewer thoughts that leave me, chasing after my dreams disown me, loaded with danger. Kind of like the previous track in a sense. Talking about how his dreams are disowning him, loading with danger. So maybe I'll win. Saved by zero, maybe I'll win. Holding on to words that teach me, I will conquer space around me. So there's a resolution. So maybe I'll win. Saved by zero. Maybe I'll win. Saved by zero. So I'm on one hand, it is kind of hopeful because he's saying maybe one day I'll be more together. I'll be stretched thinner by fewer people, basically, is what I read as that. The thoughts that leave me chasing after, the dreams that disown him. Maybe they weren't worth having. Those dreams weren't worth dreaming if they were loaded with danger. He says he's holding on to words that teach me. So he's learned lessons and he's going to conquer the space around him. I view this as a very reassuring and resilient kind of track, at least based off of the lyrics. We do have a Wikipedia article for this one. It says it was the lead single off the album, one of their best known hits. Let's see, there's an extended version. The song was featured in the 4th season of Breaking Bad. What scene did was Saved by Zero in? Because I know Breaking Bad. I don't know everything. I don't remember everything. But what scene was this in? Because I can't even picture where this would be. And I'm doing a Google search, but or a YouTube search. Where was it? I'm not finding it. Break by Zero, Breaking Bad. It's even featured in the soundtrack. I have no idea. I'm on Google right now, and I'm not seeing anything specific that's telling me. What I do see is I just happen to see this article. the Buddhism inspired meaning behind Saved by Zero? The meaning Kiernan intended for Saved by Zero emerged from the confluence of changes in his life's circumstances and a Buddhist mantra he had been practicing. Let's take a look at that. Was their breakthrough hit, Saved by Zero, was Kiernan's statement about how he coped with the changes in his personal and professional lives, as well as a response to the feelings of powerlessness he felt when writing songs for shuttered rooms, such as Stand or Fall or Red Skies. There you go. Regarding the latter, Kiernan told Songfacts, I was feeling that sense of impotence back then in the early 80s and late 70s when President Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher were getting in bed together, metaphorically speaking, and designing a whole defense system that involved Europeans' lives without asking us. It was never on any electorate ballot that I can remember. Saved by Zero was his way of taking the power back. At the time, he had started to explore Buddhism, and part of the teachings involved a mantra that was about getting back to a state of nothingness. He says the mantra clears your head of all fears and panics and illusions, and you get back to the basics. The idea of the song is how great it is to get back to zero. Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense with the lyrics, and now how he's saying, maybe I'll win. He's saved by zero, by this mantra. I gotcha. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I still can't find where this track featured in Breaking Bad, but it's in there somewhere. Let's move on into the next track, which I'm gonna pull up the lyrics first this time, and then we'll go ahead and do that. It's actually the final track on this side of the album, which is going to be Opinions. Let me pull it up, and here we go. That was a long fade in. I was worried.
Watching, waiting, playing a zoo. Don't play to win, to be second to you. The door will open when I suffer enough. Who'll hold this hand when the going gets rough? Such good intentions always nipped in the bud. What you expect, well, you never could. If I stop laughing just to be at your door.
Love the way he creeped out that note at the end.
Always opinions turning you round. Always opinions turning you down. I don't play chess, but I could play with you. Not much impressed, not who do you do? I saw it coming, you saw it his way. Always opinions turning you round.
I love that synth.
Always opinions turning you down.
Now, I don't know what the general consensus is from people that are fans of the album on what the best song is, what the worst song is. But I gotta tell you, halfway through, this is my favorite song on the album. It is just dressed up in mood and part in despair and anger and outcry. And the way that he is singing, you feel that. That is never a doubt in my mind how he is passionate about what he's singing about. Especially reading the interview that we read a little bit. Like, it's giving a little bit more insight into the writing of C himself, right? The way that he sings is just emotional. Emotional with a big old E in there. Once again, you get a moment of that grit. And the music is not for the most part, but for a lot of the part, the beginning, the ending, and parts of the middle, kind of desolate, a little bit empty, a little hollow, backed up, primarily by maybe some bass or a little sprinkling of synth in the back. There's that. It's so faint in the back, it just makes me think of like stars, and it's just very, very faint in the back. But I really enjoy that sound. And once again, just to reiterate, on this track, actually, who is playing on this track? I'm not sure who's playing on this particular track because I'm looking at the personnel list. You got Alfie Agius on bass on, these songs here, and then Dan Brown on Sign of Fire. And then I see here Agius left the Fixx partway through the recording sessions and is not listed as an official group member in the album credits. Brown played bass on one track. He would be promoted to full group member status on their next album. So I'm assuming it's Alfie playing on this one as well. Maybe he's just not credited due to whatever falling out happened there. But regardless, what I was saying is the mood of this thing primarily, I think, is driven by Alfie's bass and that synth, and by Kernan's voice and his singing here. And I think that hollow and kind of empty expanse that they're playing in lends credence to an emotional outcry, which we 100% get here. The buildup is incredibly organic, natural, as the rest of the band members begin to come in. Guitar, the drums, it all feels like a natural escalation and a natural progression. And we even get some really nice sustained guitar notes that are very high and emotive from Oram. It just feels right the way that this all progresses, grows, and expands. And I think that this is a perfect track. And even though sometimes I mention I don't like the V drum sound, right? That boom, boom. Here, no problems at all whatsoever for me. It works fantastically here. I love what's going on. This is a wonderful track. Opinions? I got one. And it's that this is amazing.
That cream, pure vanilla.
I got to let the soundbite finish.
Sweeteners. That's a 10.
Yes, it is. You eat that vanilla. Watching, waiting, playing Who's Who. Don't play to win, to be second to you. You can put that somewhere. There's a fly in my room. Who will hold this hand when the going gets rough? I mentioned that phrase earlier, by the way. Such good intentions, always nipped in the bud. Hey, he used it properly. What do you expect? Well, you never could. If I stop laughing, just to be at your door. Always opinions turning you around, always opinions turning you down. I don't play chess, but I could play you.
Please clap.
Not much impressed. Not who do you do? I saw it coming. You saw it his way. Ooh, third person, his way. There's betrayal in these words. Always opinions turning you around, always opinions letting you down. Never decisions letting me know. Always conditions turning you around. So I like how even the repeated line, even the chorus has expanded here. First was just, the first two lines, but now it's expanded. The decisions never letting me know. I want you to draw the line. Why can't you make up your mind? I know about you, but what about me? You can feel the hurt in these lyrics, especially with the mood of it all, the way he's singing. But you can feel the hurt. Excuses all the time. Blew away with high insight. No more good advice. So what about me? I'm playing Who's Who. Who would have thought this would turn into fact? The name of the song is Opinion. Who would have thought this would turn into fact? The door's wide open. You have lost your act. I saw it coming. You saw it his way. Should have picked up that phone. Remember? Always opinions turning you around. Always opinions turning you down. Never decisions or net. It says Nesson decisions, but I think that might be a typo. Decisions letting me know. So now you've taken over. Always conditions turning you around. I'm playing who's who. He's just trying to figure out who's the real person behind that apparent mask of this person. What a fantastic track. Is there a Wikipedia article in this one? No. There's no more Wikipedia articles on any individual tracks. This was a fantastic one. Opinions? Brilliant. Are there comments? There are. Look at this. As for the song, one of their best. As for the album, loved favorite on this album, it's the bridge on this one that puts it over the top, isn't it? Same. Indeed. Exactly. Love the emotional energy. This is a 10 song. Wonderful mood. Smile. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the halfway point and the rain has started coming down. You probably can't hear it. Actually, you might be able to hear it. But I also have my fan on. Allow me to adjust it real quick. So it's not right in your ears, or in my microphone as it may have been previously. Oh, almost knocked over my hat. Anyways, let us go ahead and move on to the second side of this album. And to begin that, we are going to dive straight on into the title track, which is Reach the Beach. Now, before we dive in, you guys know I like to sometimes, ask a question, provide a test to see who's actually watching to this halfway point. And I just have a question for you. And you can be honest. When I walked in here, I walked past my wife and I walked in here and I told her I was going to be recording. She said, and I quote, "You look like a banana." Now, I got to ask. I don't try to match the bottom half. I just worry about the top half. What you guys see, that's what I worry about. Let's go ahead and move on into the next track, the title track, Reach the Beach. I'm pulling up Spotify. Make that statement.
Passing time has no surprise when pleasure found is my resource. I lose my lover's eyes, then secrecy will hide my course. desperate man. Should I lose my lover's eyes then? Secrecy will hide my course. When I'm feeling too sure, then I drown, floating closer to
Those sounds kind of sound like submarine sounds to me.
I start to drift with the tide. Maybe I'll reach the beach. My heart is still watertight. Maybe I'll reach the beach.
Catchy chorus too, catchy line. God, I love that bass though. He's walking it off too. So we enter back into the album with a little bit more of a catchy, still moody in a sense, but a little bit more of a catchy sound, right? And obviously the title track from the album, and it's going to be the statement piece. It's going to be the track that, you know, you look at, has some thought to it, you know, not to say that the rest don't, obviously, but you're going to look at this for a certain reason. I think it captures their moodiness. I think it captures their eccentricities. I think it captures the mood of the album cover, which we haven't talked about. We will shortly. But I think that it has a lot of these different colors. I'm assuming synth, is what's kind of making that, I call it that submarine kind of near metallic sound to it. That's a little bit drenched in a little bit of atmosphere there. Almost like recorded in the back of a room and allowing that natural echo to come into the microphone. Like, it sounds really cool in what it's doing back there. There's more like kind of high-pitched keyboard sounds back there as well, which all to me kind of sing of desperation and like the album cover, reaching the beach, and how he mentions in the lyrics, you know, hopefully I will reach that beach. You know, he's starting to drift. And I like how in the album cover, let me pull that up really quickly. Let me pull up preferably a high definition version of it for us. Don't laugh. Don't laugh at me right now. I think I got it. There was a fly and he landed on my light. Okay, the Fixx reach the beach. I just want to see if there's a high quality version we can pull up really quick here. And then what I'd like to do is maybe find out not the message, but the reason behind the artwork and such. Okay. Listen. It's one way I can do it. That's not going to work. I shouldn't have messed up the screen. I shouldn't have messed up the whole thing. Anyways, there's the artwork for you. There's the artwork. Did I stretch the screen now? I hope I didn't mess it up. Anyways, move myself out the way for us. Not the screen. Me. There you go. All right, so I just really like how, like, first of all, he's grabbing the water. So there's a little bit of an abstractness to this. Grabbing the water like that's the ledge, right? Which is really interesting. And then, like, the little handcuff. So he's been handcuffed. He was a prisoner of some sort. He's got some muscle tone. And I like how the colors actually lead to land, right? Sand, a little water, sand, darker sand, dirt. Then you see green. So there's hope. That's how I view that. There's hope in the you know, off of the beach. It's a struggle to get there. He's had to go through some things and had to escape some things, but he's getting there. And even looking at, like, the water itself, the water seems like you can't see the rest of his body under there. You can't see the rest of his lower body. So maybe the water isn't really water. Maybe this is like a Truman Show situation. And actually looking at the album cover, you can see these little squares. Like, see how the shading is different? You can see these squares here. I don't know. There's something about it. I don't know what it is, but there's something about it. Either way, I kind of got sidetracked off the album cover. There's a little break in here. I think that as a title track, like I said, I think it captures the mood of everything. I don't think it's the strongest track. Maybe that's because I just listened to Opinions and I really love that track. I think it's a good track. I think this is a good track. It hits all the right notes. I think it's just because we just listened to Opinions, so I just have higher expectations at this exact moment. I love how it opens the album, though, or this side of the album. Passing time has no surprise. When pleasure found is my resource. Oh, I'm still in the middle. Not that. I have this stretched out incorrectly. I'll figure it out later. Move myself back over here. Forgotten lies aim to distract me. This mono mind must not connect. Pure nature will contain me. Free fallen air I will surpass. When I'm falling, calling, I return, floating closer to your shore. I start to drift with the tide. Maybe I'll reach the beach. My heart is sealed watertight. Maybe I'll reach the beach. Kind of like a message in the bottle. Maybe he'll reach there. So there's still an uncertainty to this. He says he starts to drift with the tide, so he's just going along with the motions. He's just going along with where whatever is taking him, whatever force is taking him. And I like how he says, forgotten lies aim to distract me. This mono mind must not connect. He can't allow his mind to connect. And then he kind of gives himself over to nature. When in your eyes I see the sign, a teasing passion for a desperate man. Should I lose my lover's eyes? Then secrecy will hide my course. When I'm feeling too sure, then I drown, floating closer to your shore. Is he worried to open himself up to this person? Perhaps due to some of the troubles, betrayals that we had, and pains that we had read about in previous tracks. I don't think that this is a concept album, but I do think it has sort of a thematic idea to it. I don't see anything noting as such on the on the Wikipedia page here. I see it was obviously the group's most successful album, reaching number 8 on the Billboard's albums chart, eventually selling 2 million copies in the U.S. alone. That's awesome. The album's cover art was provided by George Underwood, who went on to illustrate future releases from them, Phantoms. See, there's those squares in the... That's a cool album cover. Calm Animals. No squares in this one. And beautiful friction. In your eyes, I see the sign. Feeling closer to your shore. So maybe reach the beach can be not summarized, but it can mean a lot of different things. In this track, seems that the beach represents this person who he's looking to be with, right? Romantically. But it could also be reaching that zero, right? Saved by zero. Reaching that personal nirvana, whatever that may be, your truth, your goals in life, your dreams. Sometimes you just have to drift with the tide. And maybe you'll reach that beach. That's how I kind of hear it. That's how I'm kind of hearing it. Let's move on into the next track, which is going to be Changing. Here we go.
Chased by fools in a world of their own, pushing aside all the signs that inspire, avoiding the art to create a new issue. Someone with handcuffs who's chained to the past. If I'm changing, then I'm changing. Take off your mask, there's no place in my desk file.
That's how the bass fills in these spaces.
For someone who reasons, regardless of new styles.
back to emptiness.
Trapped by rules in a world that could breathe.
That bass.
Choking the spark that creates. Am I signing a new lease? Ask yourself why before raising deadest tunes. You are someone who's lost touch and died in the clasp. I settled for a handshake.
His heart always picks it up.
My first mistake is my life. And I say, what for this? This what for? I don't need those looks. So pick your face off the floor. Justice may say we should wait and revoke. To entertain, must we stick to the rules? If I'm changing, oh, won't you please let go?
Like, pick me up.
Won't you please let go? Oh, won't you please let go? Oh, won't you please let go? If I'm
guitar playing.
changing, please let go. If I'm changing, please let go. If I'm changing, please let go.
I think that the guitar playing in this album is very, very underrated from Orem. Like, he is always so dynamic in the way he plays, and a lot of times he's playing in like not big striking chords, but like kind of, I don't know, I'm not a guitarist, but like quick picks, like quick chords, like just like he's just playing. And the way that he plays, I just find is very dynamic, very melodic, very striking to listen to. And it kind of feels like he's the driver of the vehicle of the song. He's the one holding the reins. When he says pull back, the band pulls back. When he kind of lets a little loose, the horses can run a little bit, right? The horse is going to run across this beach. And I just really like the control that he has, but also the playfulness, that electric freedom that you feel listening to him. And of course, I would kind of put that in the same line of like Rupert Greenall, who's handling keyboards and everything. They play each other or off of each other very, very well in providing sometimes a glitchy, almost industrial adjacent electronic kind of palette for the rest of the band to play with here. And I like how in this track, the structure of it, it plays with the verse and it's very spacious and kind of open. Then when it gets to the chorus, they all come in. They all come in. Bass playing is great. Drums, like, it all comes in really nicely. I love how Psy has that little falsetto there in him. It just sounds like really, really cool what they're doing. And it'd be really interesting to see how they come up with this all on stage, because I can't say for sure because I'm not a guitar player, a guitarist. But Orem on the guitar seems like a very technical player without necessarily being a show-offy kind of player. It just sounds like, it's going to sound silly, it sounds like he knows what he's doing. That's the best way to describe what I hear. Let me get to the lyrics on this one. Changing, chased by fools in a world of their own, pushing aside all the signs that inspire, avoiding the art to create a new issue. I like that line a lot. Avoiding the art. And art is something that's created. What do they want to do? Create a new issue. Someone who's with handcuffs, who's chained to the past. We saw the handcuffs in the album art. So there's a correlation there. If I'm changing, then I'm changing. Take off your mask. There's no place in my desk file for someone who reasons regardless of new styles. Settled on a handshake, my first mistake. It's my life and I say, what for this what for? Like that handshake, you shook a hand, whatever that hand may be, you made a deal, and he says that was the first mistake. I don't need those looks, so pick your face off the floor. Justice may prove we should wait, not provoke. To entertain, must we stick to the rules? If I'm changing, won't you please let go? Like, if I'm changing, then just let me go. Don't hold me and try to force me or conform me into your mold. You see I'm changing, just let me go. Let this peacock fly. Trapped by rules in a world that could breathe. choking the spark that creates? Am I signing a new lease? I like that. Like when you're trying to start a fire, you know, you have the spark and you're trying to build a fire. Well, are you choking that spark? Could this be, I don't know, this is me like, you know, I don't know, I'm just reaching. Could this be about the music industry? Could this be about their label or their, you know, their deal, their contract in a sense? Maybe not. Ask yourself, why before raising dead issues? Like, don't bring it back up. You're beating a dead horse at this point. You are someone who's lost touch and died in the clasp. I settled for a handshake, my first mistake. It's my life and I say, what for this? This what for? I don't need those looks, so pick your face up off the floor. That's how I kind of read it. Justice may say we should wait, not provoke, to entertain. Repeat that again. I'm changing. If I'm changing, please let me go. This whole album has played with this theme of changes and going through things, you know, progression and a journey of sorts, and finding peace in himself or in oneself. I think that this really nicely kind of fits into that. And at this point as well, changing. I love the line of like, you know, you see I'm changing, I know I'm changing. Let's just make this a clean break. I know we shook hands before, but that was the old me. This is the new me. Let's go into the next track here, which is going to be Liner. Here we go. That's a fat bass. There's almost a Karn-esque quality to the bass playing.
Liner was a fantasy sea cruise. Was a man destined to lose across the waves? What was he thinking? Seashore, he had a white foot in the sand. He was holding you and plans across the waves. What was he thinking? All aboard before the storm.
Oh, I like that.
You've never seen a place like this before. Island in a forgotten latitude. With colonial attitude, they took this chance for repossession. Gray skies, there were no palm trees in the wind. But when a saint starts hiding sins, it's full aboard while pieces sinking. All aboard before the storm. Crossing swords before the dawn. Seen before back in an infant stream. Like a rubber duck floating in the band. So I sailed away on their time. Liner, taking your last in their prime.
Come on, this track marches down the sidewalk with confidence.
Harbor, I saw a flag waving goodbye. I saw a soldier's baby cry. What's it all for? That's what I'm thinking. Inside, I must be lacking you inside. Because I always sleep at night across the waves where I spent out all aboard before the storm. Crossing swords before the dawn. We'll see him before back in an infant stream. Like a rubber duck floating in the band. So I sailed away.
I love those synth horns, the way they play them.
Taking your last in their prime. To a distant shore.
You're hiding one from me. You were hiding one from me. All right, second best track on the album. Liner just marches down the alley, just down the street with confidence. You put this on your headphones, you're walking down the street. Those hits, bop, bop, every single time. It feels good, so good. The bass playing, I love the way he just walks it down the street, just walk on that bass down it. It just has that nice heavy thump. The synth horns, I love it. I love how it keeps that same pattern, keeps those hits, but then at that point just, takes out, the bop, bop, and it kind of brings in those synth horns just with a different kind of sound and tone. Just feels great. The way that Kernan is just smoothly crooning over this thing. Just this whole song just reeks of walking down with confidence, just feeling good. Sun's shining. It ain't right now because the rain's kind of stopped. Yeah, the rain stopped, but I mean the sun's pretty much down now. Oh, there's a sand crane walking across the street. But like it just moves with, and the way the rhythm, it's a steady pace. Bop. Nothing complicated, no crazy breaks, no speed ups, no slow downs. It's just a steady pace. But it's everything happening. It's just like a parade of melody that's happening on this one. This track gives me my fix. Let's go ahead and pull up these lyrics here really quick. Liner. Liner, it was a fantasy sea cruise. It was a bet destined to lose. Across the waves, what was he thinking? Seashore, he had a wet foot in the sand. He was holding UN plans. Across the waves, what was he thinking? All aboard before the storm. They've never seen a place like this before. Island in a forgotten latitude with a colonial attitude. They took the chance for repossession. So we're getting a little bit of colonization happening. Gray skies, there were no palm trees in the wind. And when a saint starts hiding sins, I thought that was a great line when I heard that. It's all aboard whilst peace is sinking. Peace is sinking, but hey, everyone aboard. All aboard before the storm, crossing swords before the dawn. Seen before, back in an infant's dream, like a rubber duck floating in the bath. So I sailed away on their time, Liner, taking young lives in their prime, Liner. So, at least I'm reading this as needless death, needless war, needless violence, needless colonization, such and such. Harbor, I saw a flag waving goodbye. I saw a soldier's baby cry. What's it all for? That's what I'm thinking. Inside, I must be lacking true insight. He's like, what is all this war for? What's all the violence for? Like, really, like, for what? And he's saying, like, maybe I'm lacking insight. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see it. Because I always sleep at night. Across the waves' walls, men are all aboard before the storm, crossing swords before the dawn. Seen before, like he says before. So I sailed away on their time, Liner, taking young lives in their prime, Liner. Liner to a distant shore, all aboard before the storm. All aboard the ship, all aboard the vessel of war. And there's only one destination that vessel heads, and that is towards war. And as a matter of fact, when I was, looking at the album, the name of the album rather, at first I thought it might be a reference to like D-Day or such, like Reach the Beach, but I don't think that's quite holding true. Let's go to move on to the next track here, which is going to be Privilege, which is also a really fantastic song from Incubus, but that's another story. We're getting some grooves here, huh, at the end?
Correct me if I'm wrong, though a day's 24 hours long. How come you feel unwired and disconnected? Draw attention to yourself. Is your life a living hell? Change your right, rewrite the script the way you planned it. Radio news reports, truth and fact distorts, and the world's majority is understated. The views are on your mind, it's the wavelength you must find. Be prepared to hold your weight. Privilege, you have the right if you're on the frequency, yeah. If you're on the frequency, oh yeah. So when you say that, there's always something else to do. There must be one thing you can try. There's always something else to do. week is just 2 days. It's the young that always pay. But who keeps the cold at bay with understanding? If there's a dying urge inside to release forgotten pride, don't rely on words of gloom, don't be disjointed. Privilege, you have the right if you're on the frequency. Yeah.
It's just constantly building
If
this
you're on
tension.
the frequency. Yeah. So when you say that, there's always something else to do. There must be one thing we can try. There's always something else to do. Oh.
I love the way he sings that and quivers that. It's that tightly wired.
She was right. She had the frequency. Privilege, you have the right if you're on the frequency. Yeah. If you're on the frequency. Oh yeah. So when you say that, there's never anything to do. There must be one thing you can try. There's always something else to do.
I love how it's settled back into this falsetto bass.
I begin. Tell me how. How? When do I tune in? Tell me how. How? When do I tune in? For now.
Rattle them bones.
To yourself. Are you tuned into the show? She had the frequency. She has the potency.
This track to me is a perfect example of what I was mentioning earlier, where the band clearly has their own particular sound and own particular, box of toys that they bring out and incorporate into the music. This track is very theatrical, but it's in a quiet theatrical, not like this sounds like the villain song or something of like that, like a turning of a character, rather than some grand, eccentric, theatrical, grand kind of, sound. This one has Kernan is singing here with character. And even like the music is playing along to that character. This whole thing has a very electronic based and driven kind of formula and sound. And I love how it almost has an industrial S sound to it. You could very easily take this sound. Like I wouldn't be surprised if, like, for example, Nine Inch Nails covered this song or a song like this, because with the pulsy bass, just pulsing back there, and then scratch guitar, like just going on top of that. And then all the electronic sounds that are happening, especially as he starts to mention like the frequencies and such, you hear those different frequencies and the radios being turned and, searching for that sound. And it just creates this really cool bass-driven industrial pop song that has a lot of character and theatricality to it. I think that Kernan's possibly his, I don't want to speak too ahead of myself because I got to sit on the album, to think about it. But this may be his best vocal performance in the album, just with, or one of them. Let me not say but one of them for sure, because we still got opinions up there. But I just think the way that he gets into this character and he drives that through the music is just very, very well done. The effects on his voice during the break, maybe about halfway through, he kind of fades into like the ether for a moment. And the way that he's singing in that particular portion is really cool as well. Just kind of warped into that transmission signal that's kind of being described in the lyrics. I think that that's really, really well done. And like I said, this is to me a very unique track in how that's all put together. So correct me if I'm wrong, though a day's 24 hours long. How come you feel unwired and disconnected? Draw attention to yourself. Is your life a living hell? Change your act. Rewrite the script the way you planned it. I like how throughout this whole album, he's kind of been searching for truth for himself and trying to change himself and stuff. And now he's speaking to, is it us or someone else? Radio news reports truth and fact distorts, and the world's majority is understated. If the views are on your mind, it's the wavelength you must find. Be prepared to hold your weight. Privilege, you have the right if you're on the frequency. If you're on the frequency, so when you say that, like, you gotta find your own frequency. You gotta find your own wavelength. Don't get on the wavelengths of everybody else, everyone else who has an opinion that's gonna turn you this way or turn you that way. You gotta search for your own wavelength. There's always something else to do. There must be one thing you can try. There's always something else to do. When a week has just 3 days, it's the young that always pay. But who keeps the cold at bay with understanding if there's a dying urge inside to release forgotten pride? Don't rely on words of gloom. Don't be disjointed. Privilege, you have the right if you're on the frequency. So when you say that, like, I feel like he's talking in a sense of misinformation, not just taking everybody's words for truth and, you know, having to come up to your own views on things. But to research, make sure it's properly noted, and understand why you have that viewpoint. Don't just regurgitate what you hear, kind of thing. Heretic, the witch was right. She had the frequency. She has the potency. That was such a great line and a great moment in the song when he sings this. Energy, the time is right to fight for decency. I love that. Heretic, the witch was right. Of course, the one that proverbially and literally in some cases was burned and gotten rid of, they were right. How I begin, tell me how. I tune in, tell me how. How? When do I tune in? Draw attention to yourself. Are you tuned into the show? She had the frequency. She has the potency. And of course, that's when all those signals begin to start coming into the music as well, ending it. This is a very cool track as well. Really enjoyed this one. Could also be a favorite. Could. Let's move into the final track of the album, which is going to be Outside. But we're staying inside because of the weather. Here we go. Oops. That's a cool, sweet guitar.
Outside, I stretch the mind that hides within. You bright, I lose for walls that keep me tight. Outside, I breathe new air that reaches me.
This is like his final outcry. Which makes sense.
First dive, that's all the cleansing light can give. Tongue-tied, gives my life a grace. Washing, flowing, taking all these fears away. Outside.
I love how as he chants that, the synth grows. Striking that string. See what I mean? He's just always playing around. It's such a playfulness to him. Just always quivering. One last long fade out. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Reach the Beach by the Fixx. Full album listen. And they end on what I think is like a strongly pushed and played kind of conclusive, bold piece of music here. The drums are big, but they move in a very stately kind of pace. Like, don't laugh, but like they move like a mammoth on the land, or like a rhino, an elephant. They're big, they're massive, but they move at a relatively steady pace, right? But it's everything else that's happening around that. It's especially Kernan's delivery here, and the way he sings, and when he pushes him, da 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 da, and then like, you know, he starts like here, and then he pushes up here, and I love when he pushes up here and then kind of cascades down, because it's like, you know, like I said, this is like his final outcry on the album, which it being the final song makes sense. And it's almost like he's trying to get those last words out. He's trying to get that last cry out, that last message to us. And he starts powerful up here, and then, you know, as he literally was kind of running out of breath, you know, it kind of comes down a little bit. So I just love how that passion's on display, but I'm also feeling that literal kind of breath control here in the music as well. The guitar, he starts playing there at the end. Orem starts to kind of go off and start playing around. Excuse me. But what I really love is, I have to do this with the lyrics because it all kind of comes together. So let me just pull it up here really quick. I'm going to mention what I'm going to say. I'm going to mention what I'm going to say. Outside, I stretch the mind that hides within. New pride, I lose four walls that keep me tied. He's lost that which was closing him in. This whole thing has been a journey, right? I've said that. He's stretched his mind. He's losing those walls that contained him. Now he finds himself, as the title says, outside. I breathe new air that reaches me. Fresh tide does all the cleansing life can give. Tongue-tied, no words will match this point of view. No words can describe. Chastise, I don't belong as no one owns. This is the best part. Washing, flowing, taking all my fears away. When he starts this particular moment, he starts this kind of pseudo mantra, right? Washing, flowing, taking my fears away. In the very back, you can begin to hear the creeps of that ambience of keys and synth coming in, literally like a wave that just begins to come in. And then he continues the mantra, washing, blowing, touching, gives all life a grace. That wave becomes a little bit more present in the music. And by the time he gets to this part, washing, flowing, taking all my fears away, outside, that wave climaxes, and all that ambience comes to a head and washes everything away, just as he mentions in the lyrics. I just thought that was such a cool way to bring the music into the lyrics and kind of have it all coalesce together. Incredibly well done. And then it just repeats these lyrics here once again. So I love how after all of this struggle, betrayal, the things that have happened in this album, we end on a note of self-discovery and a note of positivity and refreshment and reflection. And now something to look to in the future. This was a really, really cool album to listen to. I enjoyed my time with this one. You already know what my favorite songs are though, right? Do I have to say it? Do I have to say what my favorite song is? If it wasn't obvious, Opinions is 100% my favorite song on the album, and I really enjoyed Privilege as well. After that, I don't know, because I gotta say Opinions kind of took everything. I don't know what the opinion on Opinions is, but my opinion is Opinions. It's 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. Tasty. Dustin, thank you so much once again for the recommendation, the sponsorship of the album. I really, really appreciate the support. And thank you to everyone else that has suggested the album as well. I hope that you guys enjoyed it alongside with me. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comments down below. Follow me in a few places. You can support what I do on Patreon. You can support what I do just like this over on Buy Me a Coffee. And if you're curious, that fly that I tried to hit on the light, I didn't get him because I saw him over here on the other side. I decided not to go after him. And anyways, really hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here. Come back tomorrow, and I will see you all later. Bye, guys.